Good morning. It is June 10th, Wednesday, June 10th, middle of the week. We're here for a series of bikram postures for 60 minutes, which means we do each of the 26 postures one time. So make sure you got a mat, some water, blocks if you like to have blocks, and come join me for an hour of breathing and moving. I'm extra groggy this morning. I've been having trouble sleeping, I think like a lot of people have. And went on a nice long bike ride last night. And it helped tremendously because I slept really well and in fact slept in this morning and feel a little groggy. So it's a good feeling though, after not being able to sleep. So that's my story this morning. That's where I'm at. I welcome you, and wherever you are, whether you're joining me live this morning or you're tuning in a little later and have been up for a while, let's get started for pranayama, standing deep breathing, posture 1 of 26. We'll just make sure that we've really mindfully checked in with the standing position. Standing in yoga here is a posture. It's called Tadasana, and you want to do it with some care. Make sure that it's a practice for your posture as you stand throughout the day. So that being said, just check in with your feet. You want big toes to touch if that's possible and comfortable for you. If not, spread the feet as wide as is comfortable, but no more than hip width. Look down at those toes, make sure they are stretched open, and each pad of the toe is gripping onto the mat. Just kind of wake your toes up. The weight is evenly distributed through the balls of your feet, so you rock back and forth and kind of check that out. And then ultimately you want a lot of your weight to be on your heels so that you're stacked in a straight line from your heels up your hips and shoulders and even the back of your head. So those heels and the weight over them are kind of the lineup for the rest of your body in this vertical position. So give your glutes a squeeze, say good morning to them. And then let's take the shoulders, give them a roll in both directions. Check for tightness, stiffness, and ultimately land with your shoulders after they've gone up by your ears and slid back. Your shoulder blades slide down your back, and that will bring the hands open to face front. There's Betty the cat. She's saying hello this morning as well. So let's take the fingers, interlace them, press the webbing between them nice and tight, and give them a tuck under your chin. Your knuckles are under your chin of your fingers and the knuckles of your thumbs. You can feel them rest against your neck. You'll keep them tucked in here, pressing lightly as we inhale and bring elbows up to the ceiling, nice and slow. Open everything up, open the armpits. Inhale, elbows up. Straight spine though, no back bend. As you exhale, push those knuckles back against the chin and look up at the ceiling. Inhale, elbows up. Nice deep inhale. Fill your lungs and feel yourself rise on out of the waist. And then exhale, push the chin back. Not a back bend, not an arch in the back, straight spine, belly strong. Inhale, elbows up. Exhale, push the chin up, look up towards the ceiling, try to bring those elbows together in front, keeping the knuckles pressed against your chin and neck. Inhale. And exhale. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, nice deep breath. Elbows up, chin level, and exhale. Give your booty a squeeze on that final look up, and then inhale, relax everything down. Elbows up, chin level. Try to stay relaxed. Last one, exhale all the air out. Change, drop the hands to your side. Take a nice deep breath here. And on your next inhale, bring arms overhead. Warm up for half moon by just with hips and shoulders square to the front. Take a side stretch from side to side. You can pull on the opposite wrist with your hand. Go side to side a few times, and then we're also going to move front and back. So you can either move front and back and forth, or take a circle like I am. Just rotate around clockwise from the waist. So legs are straight and steady, hips are square, and the waist moves you around clockwise and then counterclockwise. Anything you need to do to kind of get ready to move that spine in all directions for half moon pose. We go side to side, we do a back bend, we do a forward fold. So you may want to bend the knees and come into a bit of a fold, walk out the legs, just loosen everything up. Take a minute for that warm up. And when you have your next inhale, bring those arms back overhead, nice and strong now. Biceps frame the ears, but shoulder blades still slide down your back. That'll create a micro bend in your elbows. And have a steeple grip, so release the index fingers and have them pointed up towards the ceiling. So here you go. Inhale one more time. Bring those fingers up, up, up towards the ceiling while trying to keep those shoulders down away from the ears. And on an exhale, fold over to the left. Or I'm sorry, to the right. So upper body bends towards the right, hips push out towards the left, and you really feel it in the left side body. Left hip and left side body just shine and push towards the left as upper body comes towards the right. Eventually, you want to make the shape of a crescent moon or a half moon with the open side of your left side body. Maybe bring that left armpit a bit to the ceiling to keep shoulders square to the front, hips square to the front. Bend the knees a bit just to see where the weight is distributed. You have a lot of weight on the outside blade of the left foot. And change. Inhale, come up. Find your neutral straight position, fingertips straight up towards the ceiling. Inhale out of the waist, lengthen out of the waist, and then on the exhale, come down to the left now. So upper body folds down to the left, and it's the right side body and the right side hip that pushes out towards the right as the upper body folds to the left. Nice deep breaths this whole time. Experiment with what the weight is doing on your feet by bending your knees back and forth a bit. Inhale if you need to come out of it a bit. Exhale, take a check and figure out whether or not one side's tighter than the other. Open up that right armpit a little more towards the ceiling. Keep those shoulders square and change. Come back to the center. Inhale, arms up, find that neutral position. And on the exhale, you push the hips forward. On the inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, push those hips forward. Inhale, lift the chest. And now you're making the crescent moon shape in a back bend. Both shoulders are away from the ears. Back bend here. You can let the head drop behind you and look at the wall behind you if it's comfortable on your neck. If not, protect your neck by keeping biceps framing the ears. And change. So we inhale, find a neutral position. We're going to exhale into a forward fold. Bend the knees as much as you need to and pull the belly in as you come down in a forward fold. If you want to take a break in your fold halfway, I'm going to now. I just grabbed my blocks. I put them on either side of my feet to take a break halfway in this folding. The blocks help keep my chest lifted and spine straight, and I'll just pedal out my legs, bend one knee at a time. Rock hips back and forth and kind of exaggerate the hip movement as you pedal out your legs. This is our first forward fold of the day if you're joining me live, so we definitely, at least it's mine, I guess it's earlier here than most places. With the first forward fold of the day, I really take a nice long warm up, squat down, whatever you need to do to warm up. Okay, so we're halfway. Pull the belly in, keep the spine straight. You can take your hand and feel your lower back here, that it's straightened and it's not rounding. And then bend the knees a little more, whatever you need to do to keep that spine straight and rest the belly on the thighs. So spine straight, belly rest on thighs, knees are bent if they need to be, and then the head and neck are the last to go. You drop the hands down to the floor, push those hips up towards the ceiling as your head and neck go down. Let gravity just pull them down. Shake your neck out, shake your head out, or nod it. Just make sure it's loose and not tight. And then finally, if you want to take your hands, wrap them around the back of your legs here. That gives you something to pull against as you pull the upper body down towards your legs. Gaze is on the floor or behind you between your calves, but your eyes are open. Hips go to the ceiling as you pull that upper body back down towards the legs. Change, come on halfway up again with the shoulders or the arms engaged, biceps framing ears, and then keep those arms engaged as you come all the way up, standing position, let the shoulders relax. Tadasana, wow, half moon, 4 parts to it. And there's a lot going on there, but we've really warmed the spine up now. So we'll move into awkward pose, Utkatasana. Take the feet 6 inches apart from one another, but still parallel, just right under the hips. Inhale, arms up, coming straight out from your shoulders. Give your triceps a squeeze. Make sure triceps are turned on and your fingers are together in a nice engaged kind of blade that your hands are making. And then on an exhale, sit back in your chair. Just sit back, booty goes straight back and is working against the pull of the arms forward. So you have booty going back, arms going forward. That turns your legs on. Wiggle your toes a bit to make sure you have no weight in them. And peek that your knees are straight, as in not bowed out or coming in. They're just, kneecaps are pointing straight out and not going past your toes. Strong legs here, sit back, strong, 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 change, inhale, come up, all the way high onto tiptoes for some balance work. So we're balancing high on the toes, arms are still strong, just breathe here. You can begin to bend the knees and sit back in your chair if you want. I'm gonna just work on balance today, staying high up on my toes and really feel the weight coming down through the balls of my feet, stretching out each toe and to the front of my ankles as the front of the ankles opens up. Heels lift high, belly pulled in, shoulders away from the ears. All right, change, let it go. Drop the heels, but keep the arms strong. This is part 3. We're moving into part 3 of Utkatasana by lifting the heels up 1 inch, bring the knees together, and squeeze in the inner thighs like a zipper is coming up the knees, up the inner thighs. Squeeze it all in and begin to sit back one more time. Bend the knees as you sit down and like you're sliding straight down the back wall. Spine is straight, hips, booty come down towards the heels. Nice and strong legs. Make sure those arms are engaged. It'll help you and help the balance. And change. Inhale, come up. Exhale, drop everything down. Bring feet together in Tadasana. Open up the shoulders and also be mindful to keep the belly in and palms face the front. Let's move into eagle. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, bring the right arm under the left in front of you. You can begin by giving yourself just a little hug, check in, make sure your shoulders are open enough to let you do this. So give yourself any kind of hug here and stay here, or begin to wrap your arms around one another like ropes down the front of your body. Right arm is under left. Wrap those hands together as much as you can. You can experiment with some mobility here by bringing the elbows up to begin, but ultimately we want to tuck them in, sit back in your chair as you tuck the elbows in towards your waist in a straight line from your fingertips down to your elbows. It's a straight line in the center of your body. We're gonna stand strong on that right leg. Bring the left leg up. I'm sorry, we're standing on the left leg. I'm going to switch it back because we want the opposite. The right arm is underneath, so we want right leg on top. And you can bring it up so high maybe that your knee touches your elbow, and then you wrap it over on top of the left. Sit back, right leg on top, right arm on bottom. Sit down as much as you can on that left leg. It'll help with balance. And just think of having your knees and hips in line, square to the front, with that right leg lifted. Sit back, change, let it go. Walk out your feet if you need to. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, left arm under right now for a little hug. Check in there. If it feels good to keep going, begin to wrap them together like ropes. If not, just hang out in that hug. And it can be different from day to day. Don't expect yourself to do anything that you had done before or push yourself to go where you want to be. Just find out where you are today with your body. So let's bring those elbows. You can work on mobility if you want by lifting them nice and high up by your face and ultimately bringing them back down, tucking them in towards the navel as you sit back. This time we do stand on that right leg. So left arm is underneath, left leg on top. You can maybe touch the knee to the elbow if you want to get it that high before you cross it over. And sit back. The lower you can sit, the more it helps your balance. You'll notice I'm dropping my toes occasionally for like a kickstand. You can leave them there or work on balance by bringing them up. Squeeze everything in together to the center line of your body. Sit back, squeeze it in, and change. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, let it go. Walk out the feet a bit and take a drink of water here. That was our first break after those 4 first postures. This is our first break, so take a drink of water. Let it go. Bring the breath back down a bit. Okay, let's move into standing head to knee. So there are several parts standing head to knee. We ultimately move through 4 phases to get to the ultimate final posture, but I'm gonna really break it down and stay, I think, in like the first 1 or 2 postures to really talk about how this can loosen the lower back as long as we do it with care. So I'm standing to the side this time. I'm gonna lift the right leg and stand strong on the left. So to prepare, I just make sure that left leg is planted down on the mat, the left foot's planted on the mat, the leg is strong as I lift that right knee up and have it in one line from my hip. And I've talked about this before, but if you want to just drop the toes, if that balance is already challenging enough, you can just stand strong in the left leg and come up high on your right toes. So there's a way to do this every step of the way. So if you've made it this far with me to bring the knee up, staying right here with the knee up and the foot engaged, if you flex that foot, you can relax and flex and do some circles, really work on checking in with the right ankle, isolating and checking in on that. This is an amazing balance and core work in itself. I'm already a little wobbly here just standing on my left foot. But here's where the lower back stretch comes in if you do this with care. The next part of this posture is to fold the upper body over the lifted leg. And we want to have an opening to be able to do that in the lower back. So in order to find that opening, you really have to pull in the belly button. And pulling in the front allows the back to open and give you that bend over the crease on the right left hip. So I'm just going to bend my upper body over. My booty is sticking out and spine is straight, belly pulled in, and that opens that lower back. Find a grip anywhere you can, even if it's just a slight bend over and you're hanging onto the thigh. You can also bend a little further, find the calf, ankle, or ultimately, if you can, it's so lovely to be able to take a basket weave grip because you've got your foot pressing in against your hands, and that can also help you stretch the lower back out. Pushing that foot into the basket weave, hands helps you push the booty back and stretch that lower back. But belly has got to be turned in to protect the lower back. So let's come out of that. That was just more of a breakdown in that posture of those first two parts that we moved through. Okay, moving on to the other side now. I've turned face the other direction. Hopefully it's helpful. And again, I'm standing on the right foot this time, so I'm going to make sure first that it is strong and ready to be the foundation for what's to come. I can bring the left toes high, which still doesn't, I don't feel like I'm going to wobble over. I'm just balancing high on my toes, but a lot of the weight is now on that right foot. So this can be the very first preparation for moving into this posture. And then if you can use your core strength to bring that knee up and just come up and down if you want to kind of feel what happens in the hip flexors when you turn that on to get the knee lifted. We'll bring the knee up so that it's a straight line coming out from the hips. And again, I'll do it on this side as well. I'll open up my ankles by flexing the foot, relaxing the foot, and doing some foot circles. And even that movement, just with my ankle, causes me to be a bit wobbly on that strong right leg. So this is a great balance challenge on its own. Okay, we'll move into the next part, part 2, where we fold that upper body over the leg. So to prepare, pull the belly in, lift out of the waist, and then come down, leading with your chest and bring upper body to your knee. You don't want to bring the leg up. And then if you want, I'm doing it now. I've taken my hand and I'm kind of pressing in on my belly to make sure my belly is pulled in, which releases the lower back and allows me to stick the booty out a bit more and get a little lower down over my leg. And again, if you got a basket weave grip, it helps a lot because you can push that foot into the hands. I am wobbling. And that's another thing day to day. Your mental state really affects your balance, and you can notice that in these balancing postures too. So find what works for you. Just make sure that belly is pulled in, shoulders are relaxed away from the ears, and feel that opening in the lower back. So come on out of that, and we will move into dancer's pose. Another thing I didn't talk about in that posture, but I've mentioned before, is just that your body will want to go where your gaze goes. So if your gaze is looking all around, if your eyes are all over the room, or feeling a little panicked and skidding around or looking down, your body is going to go there. So try to focus on one spot in front of you. Find a spot to focus on and stay focused on it as you move into balance. So we'll practice it with dancer's pose here. So find that steady gaze. Drop the right hand. Warm up the leg a bit if you need to by kind of moving the hips back and forth. And in this back one, check that the glute fires up as your leg goes back, and catch it in that hand. Steady gaze on your focus spot. Lift the left hand and begin to kick the right hand kick the right foot into the right hand. Turns on the glute. And that lift of the leg with the hips square will bring your upper body down. Let the kick and lift be the force that brings the upper body down. And you can decide where you want your left hand to go. Traditionally in bikram, it is straight out. Legs lift apart with hips square. Focus on your spot and change. Come on out of that as gracefully as possible, and turn around to the other side as we move into standing on the left foot. So find your spot, find one spot you're going to look at this entire posture. Focusing on that. Drop the left hand this time to the side with palm out so that it's ready to receive that left foot. And you can begin a bit of a warm up. Make sure the left glute turns on when your foot goes behind you to be received in your left hand. Lift the right arm up high, bicep frames the ear here, hips stay square, shoulders stay square to the front, and kick into that left hand. Kick and let the kick Bring you up towards the ceiling, the legs, the kick and the hand up towards the ceiling. That propels your upper body down. And again, you can choose what you want to do with the left hand. Traditionally, it comes straight down so it's parallel to the floor. Legs kick up. And change. Come on out of that. Beautiful work. Let's go into one more posture before we take a break and have a sip of water. One last posture. In this next set before the break, come to the back of your mat for balancing stick. Inhale, arms up. Take a step forward with your left foot. Begin balancing on those right toes. My hands are in a steeple grip, so those index fingers are released pointed towards the ceiling. And as in dancer, the lift of the right foot, lift it off the mat. Think about bringing that heel up. That lift brings your upper body down. And you can just work on going up and down, stay up high with chest lifted if you'd like. If you want to keep moving it, bring it up, lower body down. And now your gaze shifts to the top of your mat, a few feet in front of that standing foot. Gaze is at the top of the mat, but still looking at one solid spot. And try to make the shape of a capital T with your body. Stretching fingertips and toes apart from one another. Change, go ahead and come out of that. I came out a bit early. Feet step together again at the back of the mat. Arms are still engaged. Let's switch the cross of which hand is on top. Here in the steeple grip, so just change the cross of your fingers. Step forward this time on the right foot. Take a step forward on it and come up off the left toes to shift the weight over to the right leg. And again, if you want to just stay here with the fingers pointed towards the ceiling and practice lifting the back toes, you're kind of like a pendulum. The lift brings you down a bit so that your fingertips and toes stay in a straight line. Practice that or come down. Make that head towards the shape of a capital T with your body as you lift the heel. Keep it in line with the booty if you can. And toes and fingers stretch apart and change. Inhale everything back up to the back of the mat. Exhale, arms to the side. Here's the spot where we can take a sip of water before we meet at the top of the mat facing the front. So to the top of the mat, facing the front now. I've moved my blocks to the middle of the mat because I'm going to use them here in this separate leg forward fold. So inhale, arms up. Exhale, step feet and arms apart. Make a T with your arms here. Keep them nice and engaged. Feet face the front. And then just bend at the knees here. Rock side to side. You'll feel an opening on the outside of the ankles now. And check in with the knees and hips. And when you're ready, swan dive. Lead with the chest over your legs. Send the butt back as the chest comes down. And here's where I'll just grab my blocks and just hang out here in this halfway. And again, bend the knees, rock the hips back and forth in the halfway position. If you're comfortable here, stay right here. If you don't have blocks, you can rest your hands on your thighs like this. If you want to keep going and do more of a fold, bend the knees as much as you need to keep the spine straight. The belly begins to head towards the middle of the legs like it's going to go between the thighs, and bend the knees as much as you need to keep the spine straight. If it's comfortable, drop your hands onto the floor, let your head and neck go. Nod the head yes, shake it no to make sure that neck is nice and loose. Your gaze can be straight down at the mat, like in the middle of, if you drew a line between your toes, your gaze is straight there between those. Or you can take a bind with your hands behind your calves here
And the gaze shifts to the back wall between your legs, the crown of your head heading towards that same imaginary middle line that would be drawn between the big toes. The crown of your head heads there. So find the depth of this bend and this fold, whatever it looks like. It's going to look very different for everyone. And just feel that stretch as hips come high to the ceiling. And change, we'll come up halfway first, keep the spine straight halfway, and then little extra core strength is to bring the arms around, frame the ears with the biceps, inhale all the way up and together to the top of the mat in one inhaled breath. Exhale, arms to the side. Take a breath here. We're gonna head into triangle next. So inhale, arms up. Exhale, step them out again. Same beginning stance that we started in the last pose. So begin there, toes are straight out to the front, arms in that T, belly pulled in nice and strong, shoulders away from the ears, all the usual cues. Now turn on that right heel so that the feet face out to the side, the toes face to the side on the right, and begin to bend. Find your stance here. It doesn't have to be this wide, but you want your knee wherever, however far it bends, you want the knee stacked over the ankle. And I do a check, I'm just realizing, watching myself, I automatically do a check with my left hand on my left hip to make sure it didn't pop out and up. I automatically just kind of come through and ask it to sink back down as I bend that knee a little deeper, tick-tock the arms to 6 and 12, slide the wrist on the right side along that right knee, and then you can sink down as far as comfortable for you with the left arm lifted and engaged, and look up if you want at that lifted left hand. Wave hello to yourself just with your thumb as you sink down on the right side. Lift with the left. Change, inhale, come up, arms to a T. Turn the right toes in, left toes out. We'll do the same kind of warm up on this side where you bend the knee, figure out where your posture needs to be in your legs, how far apart they can be. It might be different on this side. I'm doing the same check with my right hand to my right hip, reminding it to come down and be centered and square under my shoulders instead of cocked out because of that bent knee and open toes on the left. Stay here, nice strong legs. Squeeze an imaginary beach ball between your thighs here. Tick-tock the arms, 6 and 12, and then take the right or the left wrist, bring it along the knee, and finally, as you sink down, look up over to the right lifted hand. The side might be a little different. I'm already feeling I'm not going to be able to go as low on this side. Can't bend down and let everything just come low and rest on the ground. You want to keep a lift in the side body on both sides, including the one that's bent over. So I am not able to go as low on this side. Okay, change. Inhale, arms up. Everything together to the top of the mat. Exhale, arms to the side. Take a quick breath here. Calm it down. Triangle is really at the peak posture in the standing part of this series. So we just got it out of the way. Let's inhale, arms up. Hands in prayer now. Over the top of your head, step the feet a little less far apart than we just were. Hands in prayer. And then we're going to just turn everything over to the side. Breathe here, take a breath, feel comfortable with everything twisted towards the side. In fact, if you want to bring your hands down and make sure those hips are straight in front of you, you could take that left hip with your left hand and just coax it over. So with hands in prayer, bend the front knee and pull that belly in as you dive over the front leg. If those blocks are still next to you, it can feel good to grab them and frame your front foot with the blocks as you come down maybe halfway, like we usually do in a fold. We come down halfway and I have us try to reset in the halfway position before you make sure you can bend all the way down with a straight spine. If you kept your hands in prayer, the blade of those pinkies can come down onto the mat. And this brings us into the head to knee portion of this posture, which is separate leg standing head to knee, by tucking the chin, bending the knee enough to get the forehead to it. As you press in the blades of the pinkies into the mat and open up with the armpits. So again, this posture is going to look different for everyone, but we'll come back to the halfway point, arms overhead to turn on the core. Keep the biceps framing the ears as you twist all the way to the other side. Take a breath here, make sure you're comfortable and square. Hips are square, shoulders are square to the facing in front of you as you face the side of the room. Bend the left knee just a bit and then fold over that left knee now. And like I did on the other side, I'm going to grab my blocks, which have ended up behind me, and separate prayer hands for a minute to just adjust halfway down. This is such a tremendous hamstring stretch if you keep everything square. So here's the halfway point. You can stay right here, keep the spine straight. As soon as your back starts to round, the lower back starts to round, just come out of it, because this isn't a back rounding, and that will take the stretch out of the hamstrings and hurt your lower back. If you safely can go down a little further and you want to keep prayer hands, those edges, blades of the pinkies can dig into the mat. I do not have that today on this side, so I'm going to keep using the blocks as I lower down and go for that head to knee. And we'll change, come up to the halfway, arms overhead, biceps frame the ears, come up all the way, feet together, hands down to your side. Take a quick sip of water if you want, I'm going to, and we'll move into our final standing posture, tree, to kind of calm everything back down, one last balance. I'm going to begin tree this time standing on my right foot, standing nice and strong on the right, windshield wiper the left, just to kind of open up the hips, and that'll let me know how high I want to bring my foot today. So you can balance on your toes, bring it up, press against the calf. If you want to take it higher, pass over the knee, bring it to the inner thigh. And if you want to take the bikram tree, you catch it in your right hand and let that left foot rest in the hip crease on the right. I'm going to stay in this vinyasa tree. Bring hands to heart center. If you like to grow branches, we've done that before, you can do that. And I'll just quiet down. We'll take a nice deep breath in some still and focus here. Change, let that go. Walk the hands or walk the feet out. And now we'll stand strong on that left foot, windshield wiper the right. Come up on your toes to start. Stay right here if you want, or bring it up a little higher to the calf. Skip over the knee if you want to go even higher, up to the inner thigh. And wherever your foot is against your leg, just think of pushing the foot and the leg against one another. Hands to heart center in prayer. Okay, change, let that go. We are done with the standing posture, so go ahead and take another sip of water if you want. Otherwise, head right down onto the mat on your back for Shavasana. Lying on your back for Shavasana, let everything relax down and take a nice deep breath. Let go of all the work we just did. I'll be right back. I'm grabbing some water.
Okay, so in Shavasana here, we move from Shavasana into wind removing pose. Inhale, bring the right knee up towards your chest and take hold of it. Find a grip with your hands along the calf. Pull it in, feel that pinching between the thigh and the belly, and then bring it down a bit to the side like it's coming down towards the armpit. Right knee towards right armpit. Nice strong grip with your hands and pull it in. Relax the shoulders away from the ears even here, and then just flex that left standing foot like it's standing on the ground, engaged all the way up to the glutes. Pull the right foot in, change. Let that right foot go. Inhale, left knee up and in towards the chest. Find the grip on that side. You can flex that right foot and bring your knee, left knee down towards left armpit. Feel the pinching between the left thigh up and the belly. That's the hip crease. Pinch, pinch, pinch as the right leg is strong and open. Change, let the left knee leg go down. Inhale, both knees up this time. Take a bit of a rock and roll if you want, either along the length of the spine or side to side. In the lower back, massage the lower back and outside of the hips. The further down you let your knees fall to the side, if you're rocking it out, the more of the massage you get on the outside of your hips, and we don't often really relieve pressure there, so it can feel really good. But ultimately, this posture isn't a massage, it's a spine lengthener. So bring the knees down to the chest, nice strong grip with the hands. If you want to lift your chest up and lift your head and neck off the mat just to press the lower back into the mat, do so. But eventually we want the whole length of the spine to be on the mat, back of the head on the mat now, and maybe tuck the chin to the chest. That really lengthens the upper cervical spine. Change, let it go. Let the legs drop. Go into Shavasana here. Corpse pose. It's a mini death, and just feel that. Feel everything go limp and heavy. Take a deep breath. And we fire it up into a yoga sit-up. Inhale, arms overhead, hook the thumbs. Exhale, sit up. Come around and touch the toes. And then come on over, turn onto your belly for cobra. Feel those hip bones press into the mat. Feel your legs make it one cobra tail by zipping up that space between your ankles, calves, all the way up to your inner thighs. Press the palms onto the mat under your shoulders. Bring elbows together. Chin down on the mat to begin. And exhale all the air out. Inhale, slowly peel the upper body off the mat. Using the lower back strength, not your hands. Roll shoulders away from the ears. Elbows stay tucked in into the ribs. Inhale, see if you can find yourself even just a millimeter higher. Exhale, let it go. Belly down, Shavasana, left cheek on the mat. Take a breath here, belly down, Shavasana. Okay, let's move into half locust. Flip the hands so that palms are down on the mat beside you. And then rock the hips from side to side as you just scooch those palms face down underneath you, under your legs, under your hips. Palms are under the hips and pressing into the mat. Turn your chin to the front and let the chin just rest on the mat and keep the chin here to protect the neck. Inhale, right leg up. Right leg up, flex, toes pointed, lift, lift, lift. Imagine someone's pulling it out now behind you so you find length and then more lift, and feel that right hip press into your forearm. And change, drop the leg. Inhale, left leg up, same thing on this side. Lift, lift, lift. Press the palms into the mat underneath you, and then imagine someone's pulling the leg behind you. Lengthen it.
Lift again, feel that hip bone press into the forearm, change. Now tuck your mouth down onto the mat. Kiss the mat as you scooch the fingers down towards the kneecaps, as low down as you can. Press into the mat with the palms, and with both legs straight and zipped up together, lift both legs using your lower back. Change, let those legs drop. Let the palms come out. That's a lot of work on your forearms and wrist. Let them come out, right cheek to the mat, belly down, Shavasana. Take a breath. Okay, bring the arms out to the side. Headed into full locust now, so bring the chin back on the mat, arms out to the side like airplane wings, straight out from your shoulders, zip up the legs, and then inhale everything off the mat except for your belly and hips, 747, taking flight. Toes are pointed, arms are strong, chest lifts. Inhale everything up one more time, exhale, belly down, Shavasana, left cheek on the mat, just take a breath. Let it all go. And to conclude this particular round of postures, we move into floor bow. We've totally prepped ourselves for that. So bend at the knees. I like to windshield wiper the legs sometimes here just to loosen up the hips before I pull everything together one last time. Bend the knees, keep the knees together to begin. Knees bent, chest lifts. You can stay right here if you don't have the bind yet with your feet in your hands. Just make the movement to get there, and one day you will, I promise. And then go ahead and find the bind if you can, gathering your feet and your ankles into your hands on the outside. Bring everything down to prepare, nose or chin down to the mat. Let it all go with an exhale, everything out. Inhale, kick the feet into the hands. The inhale lifts your chest and lifts your legs. Exhale brings kind of a rocking motion onto your belly. You can eventually land on your upper belly. That lets your hips come even higher off the mat. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. And change, drop the knees. Let it go, belly down, Shavasana, right cheek on the mat. Take a breath. And let's plant the hands under the shoulders now and move into a sit-up. So whether you stay on your knees or come up all the way off your legs, flip those toes, keep the elbows pulled in towards the ribs, push yourself up, nice strong straight plank here at the top, and then just walk the knees to the front of the mat for fixed fern. So for fixed fern, knees are together at the top of the mat, heels come apart to make room as your hips sink back, sit back between your legs. I like to move the tissue of my calves out of the way, sink back and sit on the block if you need to connect your sit bone, tailbone down to something while having a straight spine. So sit on the block or a pillow or a blanket. You can have a blanket or towel laid across underneath your ankles for some comfort. And just find a comfortable position where you can rest and take a breath and not be struggling to feel like you want to get out of it. Nice opener on the front of the ankles, especially, something we don't often get. If you want to come back a little further, pull the belly in to protect that lower back as you lower down first on the elbows. Knees may come apart a bit here. And then go ahead and lie down all the way on your back if you'd like. Final expression here is arms overhead, and that creates a slight back bend that you'll feel in your lower back. So play around with those different positions. Again, find what works for you that you're not screaming to get out of. And then if you've come all the way back, just really protect that belly. Keep it strong as you lift back onto your elbows. Come up over the top of your knees and turn around. Lie down for Shavasana.
Just let everything go here. Nice inhale and exhale. And then we move into a yoga sit-up. Feel free to skip it if you have back problems or want to skip sit-ups. Otherwise, inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, sit up. 2 audible exhale breaths as we sit up. And then come around to the back of the mat for half tortoise. Sit back on your heels if it helps to have a blanket or a towel underneath your ankles. Give a moment to set up for that. Let's inhale, arms overhead. Take prayer grip. One thumb crosses over the other. And to make sure that you haven't arched your back and stuck your belly out, just pull the belly in, shoulder blades slide down the back, and that can create a micro bend in your arms. And then begin to fold over your legs. Try to get your forehead or nose to the mat before the blade of your pinkies. And when your arms do reach the mat, press the blade of the pinkies into the mat. This is really going to open at the armpits. This is a good practice and prep for down dog. And finally, check that your hips are heavy and maybe touching the ankles, heavy on the ankles to lengthen and stretch that spine. Change, come on up with arms engaged, framing your ears. Exhale, let the arms go down and turn around, lay down on your back for Shavasana. Let everything go here. Just take a breath. Really notice the work and the practice it takes to really just let everything go and become super heavy and then instantly be able to turn it back on and energize it. That's a lot of agility that we work on. The muscle memory there of being able to let go and turn on when we need it. Inhale, arms up, overhead, prepare for a sit-up. Sit up. Touch the toes to give yourself a little hamstring stretch between each sit-up. And come around up high to the top of the mat, stacked over your knees here, knees under hips, straight over your knees. If your block is handy and you want to put it between your inner thighs, that'll really help stabilize the knees and hips and turn on those inner thighs because you have to squeeze them to keep that block there. Tuck your hands in some imaginary back pockets here and be mindful to bring your elbows together. That'll really broaden the chest. Look up with your gaze. On an inhale, lift the chest and look up, and on an exhale, press those hips forward. And every inhale, really imagine coming up towards the ceiling to avoid overly crunching that back as we head into this very deep back bend. If it's comfortable on your neck to let it go, you can let your head fall back. Look at the wall behind you. Press those hips forward, lift the chest. Finally, if you'd like to reach back for your heels with your hands. This is camel. Now for some people, I'm going to protect my core as I come up from that deep back bend. For some people, camel will just look like this, stacked over your knees straight with your hands coming back on your hips and just engaging those inner thighs. Even if you don't have a block, you can imagine them squeezing one together. So camel's going to look very different for everyone. It can make some people kind of dizzy. No problem, just back off of it and we'll all come around to meet in Shavasana here. Take your nice deep breath, sink in, let everything relax for a moment into the floor. Inhale, arms up overhead, hook your thumbs together. Exhale, sit up. Come around, touch the toes. It's really nice, just FYI, on that inhale, touching the toes. If you want to walk your hips back, it kind of tilts the pelvis and really gives an extra hamstring stretch. So that's just something I do every once in a while to get that added benefit. Okay, so let's come around to the back of the mat once more, sitting back on the heels for rabbit. Sitting back on the heels, chest is lifted. Just check in on the outside of your feet with your hands, and remember you're going to take a bind here in a minute on the heels. So for rabbit, we begin the fold with the chin, tuck chin to chest. Turn your gaze down and inward towards your belly button, and imagine that belly button just going in, belly button in, as the chin stays glued to the chest, and you have a rounding in the cervical and thoracic spine. That's the top behind your neck and upper back. Rounding down and stretch that spine. As you bring your forehead down to the mat, maybe it grazes the knees, crown of the head comes to the mat, and take a bind with your heels and hands. That will help you lift the hips high, crown of the head on the mat, but with not a lot of pressure as you pull on those heels and lift the hips. Belly in. Change. Let the chin be the last to come up. That is such a tremendous stretch on that upper spine. Feels good. Come on out of it and lay down in Shavasana. Let everything go heavy here. Take your nice deep breath. And then we fire it back up. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, sit up. And the last two kind of cooling down postures are separate leg stretching and a final spinal twist. So for separate leg stretching, bring that left foot in, right foot out, heel to the mat there. And you can stay right here, just sitting square on each side of your sit bones. You feel them equally connecting with the mat. Stay right here with one leg out, one leg in. Otherwise, you can do a hamstring stretch by, after an inhale and lift of the chest, exhale, push it out, stretch over that extended right leg. And for a hamstring stretch, you can bend the knee, lead with the chest and fold. If you want to open to a side body stretch, open up towards the ceiling. I'm going to do a little of both. On an exhale, I'll twist back over and stretch the hamstring. On an inhale, I'll open it up. Maybe 3 of those on that side. And then come on over to the other side by bringing that right leg in this time, left leg out. Again, every side's going to be different. And if it feels good to just stay here with one leg in, one out, just make sure you feel both sit bones underneath you. Move the tissue out from underneath you if you need to feel that. And just stay right here with nice, strong, straight spine and chest lifted. If you want to move into those deeper stretches, well, inhale, find length. Exhale, twist. Exhale, fold. Bend the knee as much as you need to. This side's tighter for me, so I really have to bend the knee here. Fold with the chest. Again, I'm going to make mine active. On an inhale, come up, look up at the ceiling, over my armpit here, and feel side body stretch. Exhale, twist and fold. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Great, let's bring both legs out in front of us. Straight out in front of us. Moving the tissue to the side. Feel the sit bones square and equally underneath me. Inhale here, find length. Stay right here if you'd like, or if you want to take it deeper, exhale, fold over so that bellies meet thighs, just like we're standing in this fold. We already have done this fold in a standing position. Now we're doing it in a seated position. But the same ideas apply. So belly rest on thighs. It means you might need to bend your knees to make it happen. Hips back towards the back wall behind you as your upper body comes down. Head and neck are the last to go, but do relax them by nodding the head or shaking the head. If you can take a grip onto your legs with your hands, that grip will help you begin to straighten the legs and find a deeper
stretch here. Okay, let's inhale, come up, move into final spinal. The right leg is going to cross over the left, and the left leg can stay straight out as it is or bend at the knee, come in. Just press that right foot into the mat. It opens the outside of the right hip. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, find a twist over the bent, lift the top leg. So you're twisting to the right. Right foot presses in the mat. Look over your left shoulder. Look over your right shoulder. And let's turn it to the other side. So right leg is going to come out, stay straight. Left leg crosses over right. Press into the mat with your foot. If it feels comfortable to bend the right leg underneath, go for it. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, twist over towards the left. Press the left foot into the mat, twist to the left. Look over the left shoulder, find your twist here. And then make your way out of that, grab a drink of water, and we'll finish off with the breath of fire. It's the last of the 26 postures. Get into a comfortable seated position. If you want to take a few practice breaths, this is going to be the exhale, and the belly snaps in to push the breath out. Very audible, loud breath, so it sounds like this. It's a quick snap and a loud breath. So practice a few times if you need to. We'll get comfortable, really letting the hands fall comfortably down so the shoulders are away from the ears. Lift the chest. Keep a relaxed posture in your head, neck, and shoulders. Just really let everything relax because this is very active focus on the breath and the belly. So you want your upper body to be very relaxed. Let's inhale here together to prepare. Nice deep exhale. Inhale here halfway, and we'll begin. Five, four, three, two, one. Let everything go. Great work. Great job today. Go ahead and lie down for Shavasana. We'll take 2 minutes. If you can join me for 2 minutes of Shavasana, it's the most important part of this practice. Just bookends the practice. Take another 2 minutes. It goes by fast. And if you want to stay in it longer, feel free. But I will definitely let you know when to come out so you don't have to worry about anything or look at the clock. Just lie down, become comfortable, let everything go, and go ahead and shut the eyes. If there's activity going on where you are, just notice it, but notice it as sort of an outside observer. You have nowhere you need to be other than right here. Eyes closed. Deep breaths, heavy limbs. And my fellow yogis, that was it. That was a quick 2 minutes. So if you want to come on out, blink open the eyes, and no need to rush right up or out of it. Blink open the eyes and make movements that feel good to you. Maybe bring the arms overhead and do a nice good morning stretch, or bring knees up to chest and rock side to side again. If you'd like to stay in Shavasana here, please do. Otherwise, we'll end in a seated position here just to really seal off, close the practice. Thanks for joining me this morning. I felt like I definitely had some Wednesday morning energy. It was a little low today. As I mentioned when we started, definitely felt a little groggy today in a way that I appreciate after getting just a hard sleep. So much needed. Thanks for joining me. This is the only practice left for the week. I'm not going to hold Friday mornings live stream. So no vinyasa on Friday morning. And I wish you well for the rest of the week. And there are plenty of archived Friday vinyasa classes. If you do want to keep up the regular practice of the vinyasa on Friday, just go back to one of those other classes that we've already done. And thank you so much. Namaste. The light student and teacher in me sees and honors the light and student and teacher in each and every one of you. Namaste. Thanks for joining, Erin. I love having you. Bye.